Hello crafty friends, it's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm back with the very first installment in my new Inspired Saturday series. Today I'm going to be inspired by Katy of Hook, Line and Inker. I hope you'll stick around and see what I'm going to create. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope that by the end of this video, you'll be inspired to click on that subscribe button below and maybe even tap on that bell for notifications. If you're already a subscriber and regular viewer, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here again. A couple weeks ago, I put out a call for collaborators for my new Inspired Saturdays series. What I want to do is stop by on most Saturdays and do a collaboration with one other crafty YouTuber. I will be using something they created to inspire a new creation, and they will also share a video that was inspired by something I created. If after watching my video today, you're a crafty YouTuber who is inspired to join me on a Saturday, I will have the video linked below where I talk more about the collaboration and have a link to the application. For today, I will be collaborating with Katy of Hook, Line and Inker. I reached out to her on Instagram because I just love her feed, and when I discovered she had a YouTube channel, it was perfect for her to start this series off with me. The creation that I'm going to be taking inspiration from today is up on screen. I just love this clean and simple card with that flower vase and that scripty sentiment. So today I will be creating a card as well using products that I have that was inspired by that card. Once you're done watching my video today, I hope that you'll click on Katy's link in the description box below and go see how I inspired her. Before I get started with today's process, I want to share with you the products that I'll be using. When I do start the process portion of the video, I will go to a voiceover. So if I leave you with any questions, make sure to leave those in the comment section below. As soon as I saw Katy's card, I knew exactly which set of stamps I wanted to pull out from my stash. It was the Gracious Vases stamp set from Papertrey ink. I have had this for probably 10 years just because I had to have it. I was going to make so many cute, clean and simple cards with it, and I have probably made a total of one card. But I decided that this would be perfect for today's card. It has some different shaped vases here and some little floral fillers to go into them. While I had out my Papertrey ink stamp box, I got out two of their signature greeting sets, and there are lots of fun scripty greetings that are also paired with a serif font. I'm not sure yet what sentiment I'll use, but I did go ahead and get out both sets. I'm not sure if any of these sets is still available. If they are, I will link them in the description box below. But I just want to show you that you don't always have to have the latest and greatest to create. I have had these in my stash, like I said, for probably a decade, and they still stamp just fine, and they're still just as inspiring. I will be using Zig clean color markers to color my image in today. It is pretty clean and simple, so it doesn't take a lot of colors. I got out number 21, Light Carmine. I got out number 36, Light Blue. And then I got out my colorless blender. I will be stamping my image and my sentiments onto a scrap of Strathmore Bristol Smooth. This is really the best cardstock I have found when I'm using those Zig Clean Color markers. If you notice on Katy's original, she had some stitching around the outside of her focal point, and I don't have very many stitch dies, but I did find this one, so I will be die cutting my image with this. And then my focal point will just get put on top of this top fold white card base. Let's get crafty! The first thing I'm going to do today is die cut my piece of cardstock for my focal point. Because this Bristol Smooth cardstock, I don't have as much as I do of other cardstocks, and it's a little bit more pricey, I did pull out my Scotch Blue removable tape so I could place that die in the most economical way on that piece of cardstock. Normally I would have just thrown that on there in the center and recycled the outside, but the Scotch Blue tape helps hold it in place, and then it doesn't tear the cardstock, so I can use the rest of it later. Now I'm going to do the stamping. I did pull out my Misty along with some black detail embossing powder, my Versamark ink, and my embossing buddy. From the Signature Greetings 1 stamp set, I decided to use the So Sweet of You sentiment. I'm going to place that on the bottom center of my little piece of cardstock, and then I pulled out one of the taller flowers and that tallest vase. Now, to make sure I have room for the vase, I will be stamping the floral piece along with my sentiment. Once I have that in place, I'm going to pick it up with the door of my Misty, use my embossing buddy on there so my powder sticks where I want it to, and then I'm going to ink up my image and sentiment. Now, because I don't want to waste time and let that dry too much, I got out a clear block for my vase and stamped that with the ink. While that ink was still nice and juicy, I got out my black embossing powder, and it wouldn't be an embossing video of mine if I didn't spill some powder. And then, because I had just a little bit of black powder around the sentiment and the image, I got out a brush and just carefully wiped that off. Then I could heat set that, and my image was ready to be colored. To start coloring the image, I got out my blue marker and I colored about a third of the way up from the bottom of the vase. Because I just want this to look like water, I just chose a light blue, and then I got out my blender pen and blended that out so it filled the entire vase from top to bottom. Once I had that spread out where I thought it looked nice, I got out a scrap of white cardstock and wiped the excess from that blender pen onto it. This way I won't spread any of that blue into my next color. To color my flower, I am going to put just a little bit of color in the middle of each of the petals. Once I have that color laid down, I bring in my colorless blender and spread it around the rest of the petal area. Now, between each petal, I do take my colorless blender to that scrap of cardstock just to keep this nice and light and muted. Once I've done each of those petals, I come back into the center with that pink marker, and then I just spread out just a little bit where the darker and the lighter areas meet. I continue that same process until I have the entire floral stem colored in. Once I had the vase and the flowers colored in, I decided that I needed to ground that vase a little bit. So I pulled out the 097 marker, which is pale gray, added just a small shadow below the vase, and then blended that out further with the colorless blender. Because this card was so clean and simple, I did want to add my focal point with some foam tape to add some extra depth. Instead of using my foam tape though, or foam squares, I pulled in a piece of craft foam, which thank you to a subscriber for this suggestion, and I cut a piece that was slightly smaller than my rectangle. I added adhesive to one side of this, placed it centered on the back of my focal point, and then added some more adhesive. This was a great economical way to get that popped up off the card. Next, I decided to bring in some Stampin' Up! Glitter epoxy shapes. These were a gift from Sue, one of my subscribers, and I placed 3 of these kind of spread out in a triangle on the front. But I decided that I didn't like them so spread out, so I did play with the orientation a little bit and ended up having that triangle toward the bottom closer to the vase. And here are some close-up looks at the final card. I hope you enjoyed getting to see how I made my card today. If you did, as always, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you would like to join me for an Inspired Saturday, don't forget about that collab call video I have linked in the description box below. Now I hope you'll go check out Katy's video, see what she has created, and leave her some love. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch all the way to the end of the video. I hope now you'll consider clicking on one of the videos or playlists I have linked above, and if you're interested in any of the products or tools I used in today's video, I do have some links in the description box.